was tricked into dating a half-paralyzed girl, she said. You don't have to stay if it's pity. The moment I saw her tears fall onto her unmoving legs, I knew I'd been played, but not in the way everyone thought. What happened next would change both our lives forever. My name is Ethan, and 6 months ago, my buddy Jake set me up on what he called the blind date of the century. Little did I know, he wasn't just being his usual hyperbolic self, he was hiding something major about the girl I was about to meet. Dude, trust me, Jake had insisted, showing me a carefully cropped photo of a stunning brunette named Olivia. She's totally your type, smart, funny, gorgeous. Just promise you'll give her a chance. I should have caught the desperation in his voice. I should have questioned why he was so invested in setting us up. But I didn't. When I arrived at the restaurant, I scanned the room for the girl from the photo. That's when I spotted her in the corner, beautiful exactly as promised, but seated in a wheelchair, the entire lower half of her body motionless beneath a carefully arranged blanket. My stomach dropped. Not because of her disability, but because I instantly realized Jake's deception. He'd deliberately hidden this detail, afraid I wouldn't agree to the date otherwise. The realization must have shown on my face because Olivia's expression immediately fell. You didn't know, did you? She asked quietly. About this? She gestured to her wheelchair. I couldn't lie. No. Her eyes hardened as she reached for her phone. I'm going to kill my cousin Jake. He promised me you knew. I should have trusted my gut when he was being so weird about this setup. She looked up at me, dignity intact despite the humiliation. You don't have to stay if it's pity. I've had enough of that to last a lifetime. What I said next would determine everything that followed. I'm staying, I told her, taking the seat across from her. But not out of pity. I'm staying because I'm hungry, and because Jake said you're funny and smart, and I'd like to find out if that part's true, at least. A reluctant smile tugged at her lips. Well, the bar's pretty low for Jake's honesty at this point, so I think I can clear it. That first dinner lasted 3 hours. I learned Olivia had been a competitive swimmer until a car accident 2 years ago left her paralyzed from the waist down. She was now finishing her degree in psychology and working as an online counselor for teenagers adjusting to life-altering injuries. What I didn't expect was her wicked sense of humor about her situation. The upside is I save a fortune on shoes, she joked. The downside is I can't storm out of arguments dramatically. Really limits my dating power moves. By the end of the night, I wasn't thinking about her wheelchair, I was thinking about her laugh. After dinner, I walked her to her specially equipped van. The awkward moment arrived, the first date goodbye. I hesitated, unsure of protocol. Olivia rolled her eyes. You can kiss me if you want to, Ethan. My lips work just fine. That first kiss was gentle, tentative, but electric. As I pulled away, she smiled. See? Some parts of me work better than others. The next morning, I confronted Jake at his apartment. He opened the door with a sheepish grin that faded when he saw my expression. Before you go off, just hear me out, he said, backing into his living room. Liv's been my cousin's best friend since forever. After her accident, she shut everyone out. Stopped dating completely. I've seen how guys treat her, either avoiding her entirely or treating her like some inspirational story instead of a person. So you lied to both of us? I demanded. I omitted, he corrected. Look, I know you, man. You're not shallow. I just needed to get you in the door. After that. He shrugged. Chemistry doesn't care about wheelchairs. I wanted to stay mad, but couldn't. You're still a jerk. But a jerk with good intentions, he grinned. So, second date? I punched his arm. Already scheduled. For our second date, Olivia suggested the aquarium. I miss swimming more than walking, she confessed as we watched manta rays glide effortlessly through water. In the pool, I was free. Weightless. Equal. I noticed how people stared as we moved through the exhibits, some with pity, others with awkward curiosity. Olivia pretended not to notice, but I saw how she straightened her shoulders each time, her knuckles widening on her wheelchair rims. "Does it ever get easier?" I asked quietly. "The staring?" "Some days I barely notice," she said. "Other days, it takes everything not to scream at them to take a picture, it'll last longer." She paused at the jellyfish tank, their translucent bodies pulsing in the blue light. "The hardest part isn't the staring. It's the assumptions. That I'm helpless. That my life is tragic. That anyone who loves me must be a saint." She turned to face me, her expression challenging. "I'm not a charity case, Ethan. I'm not an inspiration porn story. I'm just a woman who can't feel her legs." "I know," I said. "You're also stubborn, competitive, and you hog the popcorn at movies." Her surprised laugh echoed through the quiet exhibit. An elderly woman nearby smiled at us, not with pity but with recognition of something genuine. As weeks passed, I learned the rhythm of Olivia's life, her morning stretches to prevent muscle atrophy, the careful monitoring of her body for pressure sores, the occasional catheter issues she spoke about frankly despite my initial discomfort. "If you can't handle the unsexy parts," she told me bluntly, "then this won't work." But there were beautiful discoveries too. How sensitive the border was where feeling ended on her body, a line across her lower abdomen that, when traced with fingertips, made her gasp. How strong her arms had become, capable of lifting her entire body weight. How her heightened sensitivity above her paralysis made intimacy different but no less passionate. Our first time together was a lesson in communication and discovery. "Tell me what works," I whispered against her neck. "I will," she promised. "But you have to promise not to treat me like I'll break." Afterward, lying beside her, I confessed, I was nervous. "I could tell," she laughed. "But you know what? So was I. Disability doesn't make you immune to first-time jitters." Not everyone in our lives was supportive. My mother, upon meeting Olivia for the first time at Sunday dinner, pulled me aside while Olivia chatted with my father. "Ethan," she whispered urgently, "she seems lovely, but have you really thought this through? The responsibility? Your future children?" "Mom," I cut her off, "I'm dating her, not her wheelchair. And we'll figure out our future together, just like any couple." My mother looked unconvinced. "I just want you to be happy." "I am happy," I insisted. "Happier than I've been in a long time." Olivia's family presented different challenges. Her parents had become overprotective since her accident, treating her more like a child than a grown woman. The first time I picked her up from their home, her father interrogated me while her mother hovered anxiously. "They mean well," Olivia explained as we drove away. "But they can't accept that I'm still me. That I can make my own choices, including who I date." "And you chose me," I said, taking her hand. "Poor judgment on your part." She squeezed my fingers. "Best bad decision I ever made." But the real challenge wasn't other people, it was Olivia herself. Despite her confidence, years of rejection had left deep scars. One night, after I told her I was falling in love with her, she broke down. "How can you love this?" she cried, striking her legs. "I'm half a person, Ethan. One day you'll resent being tied to someone broken." "You're not broken," I insisted, kneeling before her. "You're the strongest person I know." "You don't understand," she whispered. "There are things I'll never be able to give you. Then we'll find new things together." The turning point came unexpectedly. 3 months into our relationship, I caught a brutal flu that left me bedridden for days. Olivia insisted on coming over despite my protests. "I'm contagious," I croaked over the phone. "And my apartment isn't fully accessible." "I'll manage," she said firmly. "You've been taking care of me on bad days." My turn. She arrived with soup, medicine, and determination. My third-floor walk-up presented a challenge, but she'd brought Jake to help navigate her wheelchair up the stairs. Once inside, she took charge, organizing medications, making sure I stayed hydrated, even helping me to the bathroom when dizziness made walking dangerous. On the second night, as she wiped my fevered brow with a cool cloth, I had a revelation. "This is what you were afraid of," I murmured. "Being the one who always needs help." Her hands stilled. "Yes. But relationships aren't balanced sheets," I said. "They're partnerships. Sometimes you'll need more, sometimes I will." She smiled softly. "Look at you, getting all philosophical with a 102-degree fever." When I recovered, something had shifted between us. The invisible barrier, her fear of dependency, had begun to crumble. Our relationship wasn't easy. There were medical complications, days of pain she couldn't escape, moments when the unfairness of it all became too much for both of us. But there were also nights of laughter, mornings of peaceful silence, and a deepening connection that transcended the physical. 6 months after our first date, I took Olivia back to that same restaurant. As we finished dessert, I reached across the table for her hands. "Remember what you said that first night? That I didn't have to stay if it was pity?" She nodded, suddenly wary. "You were right," I said, watching her face fall before continuing. "Pity would never have been enough to build this. Love was." I pulled out a small velvet box and placed it on the table. "I don't want to stay anymore, Olivia. I want to begin, with you, exactly as you are." Her hands trembled as she opened the box to find a ring. "Are you sure?" she whispered. "The only thing my heart is sure of," I answered. Our wedding 6 months later defied everyone's expectations. Olivia refused to be pushed down the aisle, instead decorating her wheelchair with white flowers and propelling herself with strong, sure strokes. For our first dance, I lifted her from her chair and held her close as we swayed, her arms around my neck, her head on my shoulder. "Not exactly dancing with the stars," she whispered. "Better," I replied. "It's just us." Life after marriage brought new challenges. We bought a house that needed extensive modifications to be fully accessible. We argued about finances, about my occasional overprotectiveness, about her stubborn insistence on independence even when help made sense. 2 years in, we faced the question of children. Olivia's paralysis didn't prevent pregnancy, but it complicated it. After consulting with specialists and other parents with spinal cord injuries, we decided to try. The pregnancy was difficult. Olivia couldn't feel contractions, making monitoring essential. She developed pressure sores from the changing weight distribution. But the moment our daughter Emma was placed in her arms, tears streaming down both our faces, every challenge seemed worth it. Today, as I watch my wife coaching our adaptive swim team, her wheelchair parked at the edge of the pool while she demonstrates strokes with her powerful arms, I'm grateful for Jake's well-intentioned deception. Sometimes the best things in life come from the moments we're pushed outside our comfort zones, into the deep end where real love waits. Emma, now 5, sits beside me on the bleachers, cheering for her mom. "Daddy," she asks, "why does Mommy's team swim different?" "Because everyone's body works differently," I explain. "But the water treats everyone the same." She nods, satisfied with this simple truth that took me so much longer to learn. Olivia catches my eye across the pool and smiles, that same smile that captivated me on our first date. Not a smile of someone broken or incomplete, but of someone whole, powerful, and loved exactly as she is. If you've been moved by our story, hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories that challenge what we think we know about love and ability. We'd love to know, what country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments below.